strike again.
We have no evidence that this is a serial killer.
Who's doing this?
Sid Claflin.
Hello?
The way I see it, someone's out to make a sale. You know, cash in all the movie murder hoopla. So it's our job to observe the rules of the sequel. Number 1, the body count is always bigger. Number 2, death scenes are always much more elaborate. More blood, more gore. And number 3, never, ever, under any circumstances, assume the killer is dead.
Theatre 96, Scream 2, next Sunday night at 9 on View TV 6.
必理痛特強傷風感冒丸，極速擊退6大感冒症狀。
我唔會俾傷風感冒影響到我工作表現。
極速起效，兩份必理痛特強傷風感冒丸，極速擊退感冒症狀。必理痛傷風感冒通鼻配方，快速收鼻水，通鼻塞，新裝上市。
When Paradise meets Kitchen.
There is so much I love about Bali. The oceans, the nature, the cool mountains.
Fresh ingredients, bold flavors.
My mission is to expand people's minds through simple and amazingly delicious meals.
Join Lauren Caballeri for a tantalizing culinary journey.
And this is my number one favorite flower.
Be immersed in the vibrant culture, rich tradition, mouth-watering cuisine. Have a taste of the true essence of Bali.
That is so unbelievably delicious.
A window into a unique world of conscious cooking.
Thank you for your smile. Thank you for the fun. And here we have it, guys. Jackfruit lower.
Paradise Kitchen, Bali. Wednesday night at 8 on View TV 6.
death toll of monkeys at the Hong Kong Zoological and Botanical Gardens rises to 11. Prabowo Subianto sworn in as Indonesia's new president. And Italy hosts first G7 defense ministers meeting. The authorities announced that another common squirrel monkey at the Hong Kong Zoological and Botanical Gardens was found dead today. This brings the death toll of the monkeys at the zoo to 11, as the simian population has been hit by the outbreak of the infectious disease melioidosis. In a statement issued this evening, the Leisure and Cultural Services Department, or LCSD, says it will conduct an autopsy on the animal's body to investigate whether the common squirrel had succumbed to the same pathogen identified in the previous cases. At present, one de Brazza's monkey is currently in isolation and under surveillance, as well as being medicated. Secretary for Culture, Sports and Tourism Kevin Yeung had earlier revealed that the cause of the infection was suspected to be the digging up of soil during the repairing of pipes in the gardens.
我相信整體嚟講，我哋而家做嘅預防嘅工作都係足夠。
Speaking to reporters on Sunday, Yeung expressed his confidence that current preventive measures were sufficient, pointing out that the other 70 animals at the zoo remained healthy. The LCSD says it will continue to close the mammal section of the zoo and closely monitor the health conditions of the animals. Staff who take care of animals will also continue to receive protective gear and health monitoring. According to the department, the health conditions of the staff concerned are normal.
Deputy Chief Secretary for Administration Warner Chuk said on Sunday that the Working Group on Developing Tourist Hotspots will hold its first meeting next month. Chief Executive John Lee proposed setting up the group in his policy address to identify and develop attractions in various districts that could become tourist hotspots and have widespread popular appeal.
區其實都有啲步驟嘅嚇，最近。
Chuk said the group involving at least 7 government bureaus will invite suggestions from the public in all 18 districts after the first meeting was held. Using Lo Peng Temple in Kennedy Town as an example, Chuk said there were treasures in all parts of the city just waiting for people to explore.
A Chinese man was shot dead early Friday morning at a hot pot restaurant in the Filipino city of Makati. Surveillance camera footage captured the horrific moments when the gunman fired several shots at the victim in a short distance. According to local media, the 29-year-old male was dining with acquaintances in the restaurant's private room after midnight on Friday local time. The man was pronounced dead on his way to a nearby hospital. Quoting a police captain, local media said the confrontation stemmed from business-related conflicts between the victim and the suspect. The Makati City Police has launched a manhunt to capture the suspects, who fled the scene after the shooting. In response to the incidents, a spokesperson of the Chinese embassy in Manila said an emergency response mechanism has been activated, adding that the embassy has assisted the victim's family. The spokesperson urged local authorities to quickly apprehend the perpetrator and ensure the safety of Chinese nationals.
Former Army General Prabowo Subianto was sworn in on Sunday morning as Indonesia's new president.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
Subianto, the country's defense minister, and his running mate, Gibran Rakabuming Raka, the eldest son of outgoing President Joko Widodo, won the February election for the leadership positions. Subianto changed seats with Widodo as the inauguration ceremony witnessed the passing of power. The crowd applauded Widodo as he completed his decade-long term in office. Leaders and senior officials from more than 30 countries attended the ceremony. They included China's Vice President and Special Representative of President Xi Jinping, Han Zheng, Singapore's Prime Minister Lawrence Wong, Malaysia's Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim, Philippines leader Ferdinand Marcos Jr., and U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations Linda Thomas-Greenfield. President Xi sent congratulations to Subianto, saying he would maintain in close strategic communication with his new Indonesian counterpart. Earlier on Saturday, Han held talks with Widodo, during which he stressed Beijing's willingness to work with Indonesia in carrying forward the fine tradition of bilateral friendship and cooperation, deepen all-round strategic coordination, and jointly promote high-quality Belt and Road cooperation. Widodo said his country was willing to make joint efforts with China to ensure the continued efficient operation of the Jakarta-Bandung high-speed railway. The defense heads of the group of 7 countries met in Naples on Saturday, the first ministerial meeting of the G7 dedicated to the subject. NATO Secretary-General Mark Rutte and Ukraine's Defense Minister Rustem Umerov also attended. In his opening speech, Italy's Defense Minister Guido Crosetto, who hosted the talks, warned that conflicts in Ukraine and the Middle East and instability in sub-Saharan Africa and the Indo-Pacific highlight a deteriorated security framework with forecasts for the near future that cannot be positive. In a joint statement after the meeting, the G7 defense ministers pledged unwavering support for Ukraine, saying that they will continue to provide military assistance in the short and long term to the country. They also called for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza and the release of all Israeli hostages still held by Hamas. The G7 condemned Iran for its missile attacks on Israel in April and on October 1st, and warned Iran to stop supporting Hamas and Hezbollah. During talks on the Indo-Pacific, the defense chiefs expressed their concerns about Beijing's recent military drills around Taiwan. They stated that there was no change in the basic positions of the G7 members on Taiwan, including the One China policy, and called for a peaceful resolution of cross-strait issues. The G7 also expressed deep concern at China's support of Russia as well as the strengthening of military cooperation between the two nations.
According to local media, the US is investigating a leak of classified documents revealing Israel's plan for retaliation against Iran. The document setting out Israel's military response to Iran's large-scale ballistic missile attack on October 1st appeared to have come from the US Geospatial Intelligence Agency and from the National Security Agency. The top-secret documents were posted to Telegram, the online messaging app, on Friday, and first reported by CNN and Axios. According to the media, the documents were to be seen only within the Five Eyes, the intelligence sharing grouping of the US, Great Britain, Canada, New Zealand, and Australia. According to CNN, one of the documents, identified as being from the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency, outlined preparations Israel appeared to be making to move munitions, indicating plans for a strike against Iran. The US had not seen any indications that Israel planned to use nuclear weapons against Iran, according to media reports of the contents. That appeared to suggest that Israel does possess nuclear weapons, something the country has always declined to confirm publicly. An unidentified US official confirmed the authenticity of the documents to the Associated Press. Quoting the official, the media reported that investigations were underway, including finding out whether this was an intentional leak by a member of the US intelligence community or obtained by hacking or another clandestine method. Concerns have been raised whether other intelligence information has been compromised. In a statement, the Pentagon said it was aware of the reports of the documents being released, but had no further comments.
On Saturday, the Israel Defense Forces released footage said to have shown the last minutes of the life of Hamas chief Yahya Sinwar.
The IDF recently confirmed that Yahya Sinwar, the leader of Hamas and the face of evil behind the October 7th massacre, was killed in Rafah. Tonight we are declassifying footage of Sinwar from just a few hours before the October 7th massacre, as well as his movements inside Gaza as he fled over the past year.
The Israeli military said the video was from the night of October 6 in Han Yunis, showing the deceased Hamas leader with his family repeatedly moving through a tunnel, carrying items such as mattresses and water bottles.
Last month, Sinwar's DNA was found on a piece of tissue he used, a few hundred meters from a tunnel where 6 Israeli hostages were brutally executed in Tel Sultan in Rafah. Then, Sinwar fled yet again.
No hostages were with Sinwar when he met his end. Earlier on Saturday, Israeli planes dropped leaflets over southern Gaza, printed with Hamas will no longer rule Gaza, and a picture of Sinwar. Israel forces also launched an airstrike, hitting several houses and a multi-story residential building in northern Gaza. The Hamas media office said at least 73 people were killed in the bombardment. Responding to a drone attack targeting his house in the coastal town of Caesarea on Saturday, Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said the proxies of Iran who tried to assassinate me and my wife made a bitter mistake. Neither the Israeli Prime Minister nor his wife were inside the house, and no casualties were reported. In the southern suburbs of the Lebanese capital of Beirut, Israeli forces pounded several locations, leaving thick plumes of smoke hanging in the evening sky. Israel said the strikes had targeted a number of Hezbollah weapons storage facilities and the Hezbollah Intelligence Command Center. The Israeli military also released a video that it claimed showed troops operating in southern Lebanon. U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin called civilian casualties in Lebanon far too high in the intensifying Israel-Hezbollah conflict. He urged Israel to scale back strikes, particularly in and around Beirut. On Saturday night, officers of the Tokyo Metropolitan Police Department searched the home of the 49-year-old man who had allegedly thrown Molotov cocktails or improvised firebombs at the city headquarters of the ruling Liberal Democratic Party. The suspect's 79-year-old father, who lived with the suspect in Saitama Prefecture, invited Japanese news media NHK into his home for an interview. A video taken by the broadcaster showed clothes, cardboard boxes, electrical cables, and other items strewn on the floor of his son's room. The NHK crew also found more cardboard boxes as well as plastic petrol containers and metal canisters inside the garage. According to authorities, the suspect hurled 5 firebombs at the LDP headquarters on Saturday morning. He also used a high-pressure spray gun to direct an unknown liquid at 3 riot police officers in the incident. The officers later complained of sore throats and other symptoms. The man then drove off and attempted to ram his vehicle into the office of Japan's Prime Minister, some 500 meters from the LDP headquarters. However, his way was blocked by vans. The police said the man remained silent during subsequent questioning. But citing the suspect's father, NHK reported that the suspect had previously been active in anti-nuclear protests. He had also expressed dissatisfaction with the country's electoral system, in which political candidates have to put down substantial sums of money to run in elections.
I have given him absolute authority.
October 20th, 1973. In Washington, a chapter during the Watergate scandal known as the Saturday Night Massacre. President Richard Nixon orders the firing of Archibald Cox, the Watergate special prosecutor. But Attorney General Elliot Richardson refuses. Both he and Deputy Attorney General William Ruckelshaus resign. Acting Attorney General Robert Bork ultimately fires Cox, a move that fuels calls for Nixon's impeachment. 1944. During World War II, General Douglas MacArthur keeps his promise of, "I shall return to the Philippines." MacArthur steps ashore as American forces liberate the islands conquered by the Japanese 2.5 years earlier. 1947. The Cold War heats up on Capitol Hill. The House Un-American Activities Committee opens hearings into alleged communist influence and infiltration within America's motion picture industry. 2004. U.S. Army Staff Sergeant Ivan Chip Frederick pleads guilty to abusing Iraqi detainees at Abu Ghraib prison. He's the highest ranking of the dozen soldiers convicted in the scandal following the American-led invasion of Iraq. Frederick is paroled after serving about 3 years of an 8-year sentence. 1968. Former First Lady Jacqueline Kennedy marries Aristotle Onassis, the Greek shipping tycoon on the island of Skorpios. And 1977. Tragedy strikes the rock band Leonard Skinner. 3 of the band's members are killed when their chartered plane crashes near Macomb, Mississippi.